Welcome back to the Dream Plan Start Grow show, and it's open the door to possibility. My name is Allison Turner. I am your host. One of the things I've recognized that building a business is hard to do, but doing it alone is even harder. So, in this live interview, we're diving into collaboration and why having a variety of resources and experts around you can make the difference between feeling stuck and gaining traction. So expect real talk, practical ideas, and community support in this interview. So if anyone has any questions, since we are live streaming, you can comment and we will, or I will, answer that question here, or even if it's after the fact, after our live stream, you can comment and I'm sure either Cheryl or myself will jump in and respond. But today I'm excited to welcome Cheryl Wilk, or Promo Girl as she goes in her job, her alter ego. so I see you didn't dress the part though.
No,
I didn't dress the part, but welcome to the show.
no, I'm not dressed as promo girl today. I didn't put my superhero costume on there.
But welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I mean, tell us just briefly what you do and how you help businesses.
Sure. So, as you said, I'm promo girl. I have my business is actually named P&S Promotional Specialties, and I do everything printed or embroidered. So I work with companies, small and medium-sized corporations, individuals, educational institutions, religious institutions, government, to help them if they need apparel, mugs, drinkware, trade show display, a gift program, um, pretty much anything you can think of. I've been doing that for almost 26 years. Just in a few weeks, it'll be 26 years. And even though I'm located in South Florida, I have clients all over.
Yeah. Well, you can kind of work from anywhere.
Yes.
Like I can for the most part. I mean, part of my business, the video side, which is more tied to Jack, obviously is a little bit more tied to one area, although he can travel. But I can work pretty much from anywhere.
Yeah.
So, which is a great thing to be able to do.
It's definitely a benefit.
Yeah.
Tied to any one place. Correct.
Right. So how did you decide to get into that? You said it's going to be 26 years.
Yeah.
Like what prompted you? So I'm assuming you were probably in your 20s at that point. I mean, so what prompted you to launch out on your own to begin with? Like, had you been in that industry beforehand? And B, why promotional products and embroidery and everything?
Sure. So I have a degree in advertising and psychology and a master's in mental health counseling. And once I got my master's, I just decided it wasn't for me. I didn't want to go further with it. So, although I worked in, various as a social worker, I worked in domestic violence. I started working with my family business. They did meetings for healthcare professionals, and they traveled. And my dad used to order promotional items from somebody. And because I did not use their son as my mortgage broker, because I didn't need to, first time home buyer, I was buying a home, got a great deal at the bank. He thought I stole his information because it was the same bank, I guess. And so his dad fired my dad as a client. So my dad goes, "Oh, yeah? Well, we'll start our own business." So the business was started in my name. So it was a woman-owned business. I was 29, and then it was really started so that my husband at the time, who passed away, would have something to do. So it's in my name. He was going to do it. I was working in the family business. We got the house in February. The business was incorporated in April. This is in 2000. And he passed away in July. So I was like, oh, okay. I have a house. I have a business.
Away in July of 2000?
This was in 2000, and I do not have a husband. Okay, holy goodness. So I played with the business part time. I learned it for the first 2 years. My first client was actually a cult. My second was Florida Atlantic University.
What the? Geez, sorry.
Yep. and and yeah, and I just played with it for a couple years, and then it went full time. I joined the chamber in 2003, Delray Beach Chamber, and off I went. So that's how I got into it. It found me. I did not find it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
just
I did not know that story. So I mean, wow.
it's a great story, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that is a great story.
it's
Huh.
true. Though. It's not. I didn't make it up. It's
No,
true.
no, the true story as opposed to the
So
fake
the
news.
corporation was named P&S for Paul and Cheryl originally. Now we
Okay,
just say price and service, but yeah,
okay, okay. Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, you and I have a interesting. We cross in our backgrounds a little bit. I mean, I was a history major, but then I did other things for many years, but tennis, but I came out trying to do social work out of college, and then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I did tennis for a long time, and then I went back and got my MBA when I was, so I
it's
was like, okay,
crazy, right?
I'm done doing tennis, and then like I had a couple of deaths that happened like at the end of my MBA. This is in like 2006 or something or eight or and so I went right into getting a master's in social work. So you and I overlap in that, and I literally was a semester shy of graduating. I was like, I don't want to do this. So literally, I dropped out.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't even finish the degree. You've always finished the
I
degree,
did
but
have my master's. I did, and then I would have to go on because I wanted to be a sex counselor.
uh,
And I just didn't. I love that part of it, but I didn't want to go get more education. I was so done with school. Um,
okay.
and and when you still have to work in the field and do all that, and I was like, yeah, I'm not cut out for this. This is not.
Well, that was my issue was going to be like I was like, okay, I got to do 2 years of the practicum stuff in order to get licensed, in
Yep,
order to go out on my own. So yeah, my issue was like that. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can stay within the confines of, whatever the grant because I worked in it. Like I worked in domestic violence at a domestic violence shelter back in my like
isn't that
early
funny?
20s. I did like a couple of things like, with kids, and this is in Chicago. And, I did all that. And then I got frustrated. Well, yeah, I got burned out like in 3 years because
Yeah,
I was just like, I felt like I needed to do more all the time because these like people needed so much, not help. That's not the right word, but just support,
support.
and I'm like, I felt like I could never do enough. And then like, whatever our funding was for, they're like, oh no, you need to stay in the lane. Here's the lanes over here. Like you're over here in this lane. You can't go that lane. So
It's it's funny. We do overlap. We do definitely.
Yeah.
I was working alternatively with batterers actually,
Oh,
and the
right.
company I was working for, it was a race to the finish if we could get to the bank to cash our check if the check didn't bounce, or if there was enough money in the account. And I just was done with that. I was like,
Wow. I never had that issue, thankfully. The people, the ones the organization, the three I worked for in Chicago many, many years ago, like in my early 20s, like those all seemed to be, had existed for a while and everything. And then when I was doing the master's in social work, I did a couple more. I had to obviously do like the stuff while you're in school because I was doing it part time. So, because I went back to work because I was like, I'd finished the MBA program and then I went straight into this MSW thing. And, so yeah, I was like, okay, I got to go back to work full time. I can't I can't keep going part time and
right,
part time
right.
work. So I was like, yeah, I need some money. So I went back to work in the field of tennis, which is what I was in at the time, and to pay some of the bills. And so I was doing the master's in social work, and so I like interned at South County Mental Health.
Oh my gosh, so did I. I worked there actually. See,
Yeah.
we have a lot in common that we don't know.
Yeah, I interned there, and then I was
I,
interning at the VA hospital in
I didn't do
hospice
that.
department. I was like, oh,
Well, it's funny because you said tennis because I was one of the largest, being a larger woman, the largest doubles tennis player for a long time down here in South Florida. Obviously, I can't play anymore because of my disabilities, but yeah, I did that. And I worked at Children's Home Society, which down in Fort Lauderdale is
yeah.
doing a lot of my social work as well. And then what's funny is I adopted my son through Children's Home Society in Palm Beach.
Huh.
So full circle. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So those connections, that just kind of shows like you and I have that connection. And
Right.
that is important for female entrepreneurs to bring it back into it, because
Right.
it's so important to have those connections, whether it's, all female or with men or with whomever, to help grow, your ideas, your business, just in general.
Well,
Especially if you work
exactly.
for yourself, you can get lonely and you need those outside connections.
Yeah. You need those outside connections. You need to be able to bounce ideas off other people, whether it's, friends, it could be someone in a similar business or maybe the same business. I mean, if they're open to the idea, it just depends on if they're willing to mentor new businesses or not. Some are not.
Right.
Um, but and that ties into our private Facebook group to help new and aspiring female entrepreneurs. That was one of the reasons, because obviously, I mean, I know a ton of promotional products people. I mean, I could probably name 5 if I had,
Yeah.
if I sat there and like looked at right now. I'm like, okay, who do I know in this field? But that was one of the reasons. I mean, not that, I didn't even know all your background, but I mean, that I always, even though we hadn't seen each other that often, like more recently since the pandemic, I think,
Right.
we saw each other, I think, once last year, and then I again, once this year, kind of thing in person. Other than online, I would see your Facebook posts and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, but that was one of the reasons I had reached out to you, because I was like, yeah, I felt there was something there that I felt that you would be good from a collaborative standpoint, and being able to help educate kind of that next generation of female entrepreneurs, and I don't think you and I had ever had that conversation in any
No.
of our interactions, but
No.
for some reason that was like the direction I felt inclined to go or called to go. So, I appreciate you accepting that offer. But what made you, I guess, be willing to do that? Like, because obviously it's time. It's your time, which I think is probably our most, or for me, it's my most valuable valuable thing over anything else. It's your time. You're sharing, obviously, your knowledge. Initially, you're not necessarily getting new clients out of it right this second. I mean, so what, I guess, made you say yes to helping with this project?
Well, as far as new clients, I didn't sign on for this to get clients. If it happens, it's a bonus. Woohoo! But that's not why I'm doing it. So for me, I'm very, I don't know the word, but I believe in community, and I believe that when you're part of a community, you have to give back in some way. Some people can give back with their time, some can give back monetarily, some can give back with education, whatever it might be. Some don't give back, but I do feel that it's important to know that you're part of a community and to support that. And so, and knowing that so many promo people, I mean, it was nice that you did ask. And, I thought about it and wanted to make sure I don't want to just say yes if it's not something that I can do.
Right.
But, whether I give food to a food bank every month, couple months, they collect in my community where I live. I give nonprofit discounts. I do what I can, and I give back where I can and when I can. So when you approached me for the Dream Plan Start Grow group, I thought, well, it's a great idea. It's a great idea to support any entrepreneur, really, but of course, being women, it's always good to help other women as well. Um, and yeah, if I can help somebody or I can impart some kind of information, even the people that are contributors, part of the group, the experts in the group, maybe they'll learn something from one of my posts, and that's great too.
Mhm.
Everybody
Yeah.
can learn something.
Yeah. No,
Vice
absolutely.
versa, maybe I can learn something from some of their posts as well.
Yeah. No, I think that's so true. I've always wanted to do something like this, but every time I had kind of looked at it before, it wasn't. with other people, it was like I wanted to create a group and, have the group and put content in it and blah, blah, blah. And it was like overwhelming to me because I was like, okay, you're going to have to like keep up with the group and do all this stuff. And really, the big impact would be, maybe 5 people, maybe 10 people, maybe, I mean, over time it might be 50 people or something like that, or 100 or whatever. But, I it would still be an impact, but I find also with, there's 14 of us that are in there as kind of collaborators and group experts in all different fields and all different walks of life. I find that we can make a much bigger impact because it doesn't take as much, I guess, work from each of us individually. And B, it also can make a bigger impact from the side of everyone has a different expertise. So even though you see some overlap in posts, because obviously I talk about branding, you talk about branding. I think there was someone else that posted about branding the other day.
Well, it's not one-sided. Branding is multifaceted.
Exactly. So it's not just, my company could create a logo and create the brand from graphics, but obviously I don't do promotional products. So, I can easily send the logo to you and say, hey, like this client needs X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's, one of the things that I found was because when I started a business and I started, with a business, I had a business partner who had owned a business. So she was very much like, oh, we're gonna be an S corp, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't know any of this stuff. Like I just gotta let her like drive the whole thing, and I didn't know what I didn't know. Like I didn't know what a promotional product was. I mean, I'm sure I'd seen them because obviously you go to a bank and the bank's got pins with their name on it. I mean, so I knew what that was. I mean, it's a pin with the name on it. I didn't know, like, oh,
for free.
Anyone can like do this. It's not just like the big bank that makes a ton of money that has these pins with their name on it. Like it's a small business with, like it has a budget of 100,000 or something, can still do a pin with its name on it, if you want to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think that's where I see the impact or the potential impact, is really educating, new and aspiring women or female entrepreneurs to, maybe they know like they want to be an LLC because maybe they have a background in whatever, and but they don't know anything about branding. They don't know anything about using promotional products and how to use that, or they don't know anything about, whatever. And I think that's where it kind of also can give ideas and additional resources out there to kind of think outside the box and think a little bit differently.
Right.
So, so in your journey of your almost 26 years, kind of falling into this business, what's been, your best collaboration?
That's a good question. I might have needed time to think on that. Trying to think. I have worked. There's actually a few people that there's a few people that are in marketing, similar to you, and they have different clients, whether they create the brochures for them or maybe they're setting up their events. They do different things for them, I think. And those couple of people I have worked with, one came to me fairly recently, but the other I've worked with for years. Like her clientele are attorneys.
Okay.
And it's nice that we can have that synergy together. We can work together. We can talk. We, can help the clients out. And they're not looking, sometimes somebody might look to get, earn some money on the commission or whatever. But like these couple of women, and they're women, are not looking for that. They just trust me. If they wanted more clients, I could give them, but usually they don't. They're happy with what they have. They don't need the referrals. But we have this trust back and forth that we know we're going to do right by each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say the couple of marketing people have been my best collaborations, really.
Okay.
So people in like a synergistic industry, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's true. And I think that kind of points out that, building those relationships with people over time, building that, is so important, of who not only I can trust to give business to, but also who they trust to use your services as well.
Yeah, that I'm not gonna try to give them to somebody else, and they could trust that we just do the right thing back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what have been some of kind of your, I guess, where you felt like there was no collaboration, like opportunities that you maybe saw collaboration, but like nothing kind of transpired there, or where you kind of ran into like a brick wall type of thing.
There's been networking groups actually in the past, where I've been in a networking group, and purpose of, for the maybe the entrepreneur that doesn't know is there's networking groups out there, whether it's a chamber group or it's like a BNI Business Network International or whatever it's called, an NPI similar. There's lots of different networking groups out there, and some have stringent requirements, and some are more lax. But the purpose is obviously to be able to get to know the people, and trust them and give them business, and vice versa.
Right.
There's been some groups throughout my 26 years that have just not uh, served my business soul, if you will. Just time suckers, and the people, because you might be in multiple organizations or multiple networking groups, you pick and choose who you're going to refer to. And people assume all the time, unrightly so, that promo people, they're going to get so much business. No, actually, no. Actually, just the contrary. Usually, you don't get anything. You give of yourself, you give referrals, you maybe pass an opportunity on to somebody, which is sometimes just as valuable, if not more valuable, than a referral.
Right.
If there's an opportunity for somebody to exhibit or be somewhere or do something. Um, so I have found over time that some of those groups just really aren't all that beneficial. Um, and so, not to pinpoint any which one, but over time, that's just, yeah, it's been over the 26 years here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And I
just have,
think,
and you gotta really look at that and say to yourself, is it my time worth it? Do I
right.
want to continue just to give? Maybe I do. Sometimes I'll just stay in a group because it's enjoyable, or I'm getting resources for myself and or my business, and that's great. And so I'll stay there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that also is important because, you have to discern. I mean, you mentioned time and it was like a time suck. So, you really have to discern where is your time best spent.
Yes.
Because I mean, I know like my company belongs to the Delray Chamber and the Boca Chamber, and I am an NPI. You mentioned NPI, so I am an NPI. At any time I've felt, um, maybe it's, and sometimes groups get stale. I like to say like get stale. I don't, like maybe like the group was great for your first few years or whatever it was. And then, whatever, people come and go. So it's like the group changes, the atmosphere changes, and you're like, okay, but you really like the people. So like, do you stay there? Like you mentioned, like, do you stay there because you like the people and you like the conversation? And I think as you grow as a business, you realize like, again, time's your most valuable commodity, and you can't just stay there. You can keep up those relationships after, you leave.
Yeah.
I have certainly, like, I've been in NPI 10 years, but I've been in 3 different groups within NPI. So, like, I started in Palm Beach Gardens. I was there for 5 years. I started feeling that kind of that direction there. And I was like, I said, I put in a transfer and I transferred to one of the Boca groups. I was in that for 3 years, and that group just chose not to go back in person after the pandemic. And I really wanted to, if I was going to network, I really wanted to be in person. So because I do enough online, so I chose to. I mean, I like the group and I like the people, and I didn't have any problem with that. But I chose to transfer from that group to another Boca group that did go back in person. So, you have to find what that fit is for you, and then
Yes.
also realize that sometimes things change, the makeup, the people changes, the whatever changes, and you need something different, and
Yeah.
that's okay. you know
Yeah, because just like, you look at a relationship, then often you wonder how somebody that maybe, they're 25, they're in love, they get married, and how people change, and now they're getting divorced, they're in their 50s, because people change.
yeah,
Every 10 years, you change, your goals change, what life looks like for you changes. And as people go along, some people can adapt, and some cannot.
yeah,
So it's just, you always have to reevaluate and evaluate what works for you.
right, right. No, I think that's true. And I mean, I know even in the chamber, like, I just shifted to a different group there, and I was in the other group for years. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't just, I was just like, okay, do I just drop out? Do I just, like, what do I, and it literally took me probably 2 or 3 years out of loyalty. And I think that's one of the things with women I see is, like, a lot of times we're more loyal. And so we're coming from that place of, almost feeling guilty for doing something that's better for us.
Yes.
Versus a male who's, making a very cut and this isn't all men and all women for sure, but in general,
Yeah. Yes.
like, but a lot of men I know, like, are like, yeah, I'm not getting anything out. Like, I'm, and they'll just make a decision, and, like, they're good, and it's not, they don't look back. They don't think twice. They don't, it's just like they move on, which is good for them.
I think it just takes time too. It just takes, I mean, I kind of left during I left and the pandemic happened, and then, um, my ex-partner passed, and so I just didn't go back. Then my life shifted and changed, and becoming a single parent, and you have the pandemic, and then, the group, I just, they kept trying to get me back. Come back, come run us. We're not doing well. No, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
'cause you led that group at one point, right?
For a while, I did. I think I was
That's
better.
probably what they wanted. They were like, "Come
They
lead us."
wanted me back. I was better as a sidekick, but I didn't. If I had a sidekick, like I was to the person that ran it for so many years, but I didn't have a sidekick.
Yeah,
So it was much more difficult without a sidekick.
I
And
understand.
I didn't get the same appreciation that I had shown to the person that ran it. So, you have to look at those things.
Yeah,
Again, my time wasn't being appreciated. What I was doing for the group wasn't being appreciated. Then life circumstances happened. So things piled on, and, maybe that was easier than, hanging on for 2, 3 years and feeling that guilt. Life circumstances just took themselves and presented themselves to me as, it's your time. Peace
yeah,
out. Go do
right,
something else.
right.
So, and I've come and gone. I've led groups. I've not. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I just am in a group just to have that outside interaction.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I think that leads into, like, that solopreneur life, which I know you're more of a solopreneur. Like, I do have, like, a few people that work for me and with me. Can be a lonely journey, especially if you're not out networking. Like, say you've built, like, your business, you've built it over 25 plus years. So you probably have a good group of clients that keep coming back to you for various things.
Yeah.
Plus, you probably continue to get referrals, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Not to say you don't do any networking or anything like it at all, but you probably don't need to do as much maybe as you did when you first started 20
Oh, yeah,
almost
I had to be
20
in
years.
everything then because nobody knew me, and there's so many of us. There's really just so many of us.
Right.
Um, but you know, um, and people come and go, clients come and go.
Yeah.
I have clients that leave a job, and so people are like, "Oh, good, we can use somebody else now because that person's not there." So it happens.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do very little now, and in the beginning I did a ton, and I do have the repeat clients. I'm very lucky, um, and I get the referrals, and I don't have to go out as much. It also is what you make it. I can make so much more money if I went out and did more cold calls and did whatever.
Yeah.
It is what you make it and how you want to make it. Are you doing this so you have the flexibility and you can earn a living and be happy and have a balance to life? Because I now play as hard as I work. um, or do you want to make a ton of money, and work those 20 hours? There are days I work a ridiculous amount of hours, and there's some days that,
They work a couple hours and
you know,
then
I'll
do
go
something.
have doctor's appointments, or, I'll meet a friend, but I mean, I don't do a ton of that, but it gives me the flexibility,
Right.
This last couple of weeks, I had a lot of doctor's appointments. Just trying to deal with some stuff. And yeah, it's, thank goodness, because I can work late, I can work early,
Right.
you know.
So with the solopreneur journey, like what's been, I guess, some of the challenges you've run into like over the course of the 25 plus years?
Vacations.
Vacation, what's that?
Vacations are hard.
No,
Like last
no
summer,
vacation time.
you're gone for almost 2 weeks, and I had somebody here for the summer, but it's hard to impart so much in them in 2 months. I'm looking again because I need to have somebody here for the summer.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well,
you know,
yeah, and
balance.
they're not it's not their business. So like as much as you think they're going to do X, Y, and Z, at the end of the day, it's very hard to find someone that actually, like, I always felt like when I worked for other people that I took, like, I felt like it was I mean, and I probably wouldn't have described it this way back in my 20s and whatnot, and even like when I taught tennis, but I mean, I was super conscientious. I felt like it was, you know, like it was my name in there. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to work from 9 to 5 and then clocking out and see you later. Like, I'm like, oh, the inbox, I still got like 5 more emails. Okay, let me get through this. Like, I can't leave yet, like kind of thing. So, but I think it's hard to find even those types of individuals today.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Even the person that I had hired, I knew her personally, so that was a little easier. However, some of the things I wanted done, she wasn't a good fit. Didn't want to pick up the phone and call clients. Was super shy that way, and that just comes with time and whatever skill. But um, so vacations and taking time and not being here all the time, and if you're sick, that's another thing. Business doesn't stop for anything. When my parents passed away, my parents passed away 20 hours apart. My business didn't stop. I think I was doing work an hour before my mom passed.
Uh,
Like it was rough.
yeah.
It doesn't go away. There isn't somebody to take that unless you have. And I've had assistants over the years. I've had 6 years, 3 years, 3 years. I just had someone for the summer. But so that's rough, the budget monetarily, keeping up with the emails, which I'm about to solve my problem here by trying this new AI tool. Um, so, those are some of the challenges.
Right.
Staying, so I work out of my home. I have one whole office, one whole room that is my office. But guess what? Oh, there goes the buzzer for the laundry. Oh, gotta go empty the dishwasher. Oh, wait, I'm gonna make sourdough bread. All of the things that not besides your necessary doctor's appointments that get in the way. Or other people thinking, oh, you can go do this for me because you work for yourself.
You got all this extra time.
Sure. No, I don't, so I try to balance that. I do use my time. For instance, if I have to get up and stand up and go empty the dishwasher, guess what? You know what? It's useful. I have to get up, I have to move around, I can't be sitting all the time. So the balance, trying to figure out your balance and how that works and what that looks like for you, I think is a big challenge for somebody who works for themselves, a solopreneur. Um, and
Yeah.
then there's the benefits, you know the benefits are I get to do this with you, or I get to choose what I want to do. I get to make that doctor's appointment or be at my kid's school for his meeting. When he was young, I got to do all the mommy things in elementary school and be on the PTA.
Yeah.
Um, so you get the benefits of being able to do things for yourself and go places. And if I want to take a half a day off, I can.
Yeah.
you know and I can make it up and I can work different hours, and so those are definitely some of the benefits. I don't have to worry about the fairness. Oh, Sally got lunch and I didn't, or Sally got a 3 hour lunch and I got an hour lunch. I used to hate that. I used to hate the chit chatter. you know
Yeah.
I'm not somebody to work for somebody else like that. That's just not me. I don't like all that inequity. It's myself, worry about myself. I don't have to listen to the chitter chatter at the office. I don't know.
Right. Right.
I'm,
No.
I'm good that way. So, and because I do balance it out because I do have a social life.
Social life?
So those are the pros and the cons, if you will.
Yeah. But I think that balance is a key piece that I always like to stress to new business owners, whether men, women, whatever, is, you have to find that balance. Like I always, let me think of how it is. Like you say, like you need to create the business within your, what is it? Create the business within your life versus like your life within the business. I mean, it's like you need to, the business is part of you, and like
Yes.
in it, and then, fortunately or unfortunately, things don't turn off. Like even for me, I'm just like, at night, and I think this is one of the challenges of having, like, I have a home office and I have an office, and for those that just work out of a home office, like it's very hard. Like I don't shut off. I'm just like, I'm thinking, it's whatever time it is. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me write, and I try and write it down because otherwise I don't remember it. but, um, so I don't like necessarily go do it right then, or or brainstorm it or whatever the heck it is. But it's not. It's much harder to shut down,
Oh yeah.
because you're always thinking, oh, I didn't get that, that done. And like you're thinking while you're making dinner. So I usually put it on my phone, like as a task thing for either, later that night or tomorrow morning. And, so I mean, it's always, it's unlike when you leave a job where, okay, I'm done.
Right. Right. It's done. You have to think about it. You go. You come back. Here's the job again. And you're getting your clients used to it. So a lot of my clients were used to me working on the weekends, and I don't do that so much anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and that's tough. It's a tough one for the clients who don't hear from me or they're used to an email. Now, if I have to, if there's something really pressing, really specific,
Yeah.
because sometimes we work with factories overseas, and so we have to kind of be there and check the emails and do all that. So if we have to, I do, but not
Right.
as much anymore. And getting people used to that, that was people got to realize I do have a life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've, for the most part, been pretty good. I mean, even if I'm working, I mean, a lot of times if I'm working on stuff for that Cat Media Group. I'm not necessarily working on client stuff. Like I'm working, on like my own business stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think as you grow your business, the biggest thing that drops is working on your own business. Like you're working on everyone else's business, all your clients' businesses, and then you forget to, put systems in place or put, whatever you need in place. You reference your email, trying to clean off your desktop if you're one of these people like myself who's like screenshot crap all week long and then or download stuff and then you're like, oh my god, what is all this on my desktop? Like
Yep.
go through the thousands of tabs you have open at once. Like, okay, I don't need this many tabs open any longer. So things like that, I mean, which seem menial and that they wouldn't take that long, but they all add up in the time thing. So like when I do work on the weekends, which it comes and goes for me, like sometimes I'll just be like, I got a couple hours or something, like let me just do this. It's more our stuff focused around our the Bad Cat Media Group versus, oh, let me go do this for this client type of thing.
Right.
But I think, but that balance, I think, is the biggest thing with new business owners that I see is trying to create that balance and keep that balance, especially if you have kids at home, if you have a husband, wife, spouse, partner, whatever, whoever it is, you still got to find where that balance, and it may look different than it did before, but it's like creating that possibility with those other people in your life.
Yeah.
And what that looks like. Be like, hey, like, especially if you have kids, it's creating, hey, like, this is something a little bit different that I'm doing. And I want to, but you're still like the most important thing. Like here's what this, creating it together kind of thing. So versus, sometimes people get frustrated or they get, because they're, the business isn't going where they want it to go. And then like, mommy, I need this.
No, that doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Monday, exactly. I was like, if I can get any amount of work done Monday because my kid was home sick. He's in high school. Oh gosh, I'm hungry. Medicine. Oh my gosh, you're 16. Go get yourself food.
Yeah. Unless you're dying. Unless you're on like life support.
Yeah, or nighttime. I'm trying to get some work done because I happen to be working late one night. He's like, "Oh, you can't give me 1 minute." I'm like, "Oh, I'm just right in the middle of something."
Yeah. But I think that's definitely, one of the things. And I think as women, we are more prone to try and do it all, versus a lot of times, the stereotype. I hear a lot of men, and again, this is a stereotype, so take it for what it's worth. Not all men. This is not, like for sure, because I certainly know men that are entrepreneurs that are super all in with the family, help make dinner, do stuff at home. So I certainly know all of them. But I mean, I feel like women, like with our mindset, it's like we have this mindset of like, oh, we got to do it all. And we got to do everything. And we got to come from this place of being the nurturer for people over here, the family, and then being the business owner over here and doing, like basically trying to hold it all together. And a lot of times what happens is then we don't take care of ourselves in the midst of that.
Yeah, and then you'll just kind of have a little blow up. When you're sick of making plans and doing all the things and, you just get to a boiling point. You'd be like, I'm done. You make the plans. I'm done. I can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
So that does happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it does. Absolutely. So what would be your greatest tip for a woman that wants to start a business or maybe is thinking about starting or maybe is relatively new in business? What would be a tip you would share that maybe helped you along the way being a female business owner?
I would say, I would say maybe what you just said, that you can't, even though you may own your own business, and you have to do it all, but you can't do it all, if that makes sense. So know where your strengths and weaknesses lie. So for instance, I've been having ever since my mom passed, I've been doing all my own books and things like that. So, I haven't done it yet because I haven't had 2 minutes to do it, but I'm getting there. It's getting onto my do list, but signing up for like, Gusto to help with some of the accounting parts of it, or if you then so choose, hiring an accountant to handle um, all of your books and things like that, depending on your financial situation and whatnot.
Right.
Maybe, you know, hiring the marketer, hiring the different categories of people because you can't do it all.
Right.
Deciding that you're going to put a logo on Canva, well, not so much. Um, it's just not okay. So realizing that you do need to spend money to make money and you need to invest it wisely. You don't need to spend maybe a ton. Like in my industry, I always tell people, don't go crazy. Start small, just and be smart about it. But spend the money for the basic things that you need.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do that because you're not typically going to grow the way you need to if you don't. If you're too frazzled and you do too much. Like
Right.
you're in charge of everything because it's enough to be in charge of my business, let alone have to do all the other things.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sit down, talk to somebody, whether it's this group, whether it's somebody else, learn how to brainstorm. In fact, I'm going to write that down because that's a good topic for April. Um, I already wrote notes, artwork for April. So, just realizing that. And if you're not sure, all the different things, ask. I mean, I see people go, oh, yeah, well, you can do your own trademark or you can do your own, creating your own corporation or whatever, all the paperwork. Do you have the time for that? Maybe you do. Maybe you're good at it.
Right.
There's people.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. I mean, I think, figure out what, like you said, what your strengths, what your weaknesses are, and then go from there.
Trust me, the amount of BS I am dealing with right now with the IRS on mistakes that have been made, but I do not owe them the money they say because I have all the documentation to prove it, is infuriating. Um, Thus, I do need to sign up for Gusto before the end before another month passes. So I don't
You're
have
gonna take your own advice, is what you're saying.
pretty much, pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's
Because I
hard
mean,
to find that balance of working, in and on your business. Some
yeah.
days you have to work
Because
in it, some days you have to work on it, like you were saying earlier. It's not
right.
easy.
Yeah, because I mean, when you first start a business, like you're everything, especially, I mean, depending on what budget you have. Like some people come
Right.
in and they're coming out of corporate America or they're coming out of whatever they're in and they have a budget. Maybe they have $10,000 they can invest, not even
I
that you
was
need that.
zero. I had no budget.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and, and then, but a lot of people, like you said, don't have because they want that money to be kind of their quote unquote cushion money of living expenses and things while they're kind of growing in the first few months or year of the business because they don't know how it's going to shape out. So all of a sudden they're the marketer, they're the salesperson, they're the implementer of the service, they're the website designer, they're the graphic artist, they're the CPA, they're the,
Huh?
all the things. They're doing it all. And then, which is very easy for something to not happen, or like you said, get overwhelmed where you're just like, oh, I can't do anymore.
Yeah, the emails. Oh boy. Yeah, that's my challenge right now. So I haven't signed up yet, but it's we're getting there. Fixer, here I come. I gotta try it.
Yeah. You got to try it to
Yeah.
see if it works. Um, but as we start to wrap up, I appreciate you being on today and sharing. And if anyone that's listening does want to check out the private Facebook group, you can go to dreamplanstarkgrow.com. There's a button there that will take you to the private group. It's completely free. There's no cost to it. It does ask you a couple of questions. Well, I have one question, and then you have to agree to the rules to request to join. But it's really made for, new or aspiring female entrepreneurs, or, like women that feel like they're still in the startup phase. And I feel like there's a lot of people that maybe they've been working a full-time job and starting their business for a couple of years, and now they're transitioning. Like, you're still probably in a startup phase. Like, so even, you know, those that are like that, you could certainly jump in there. Or if you just feel like you need extra support, feel free to come in, take a look around. We post daily, Monday through Friday, and it's, as I said, 14 group experts that all represent different aspects. You can ask questions, you can share and say, like, hey, I'm encountering this challenge. Does anyone have anything to weigh in on? So it's really meant to be a collaboration with not only the 14 of us, but with everyone that's in there. And Cheryl, what's the best way, if anyone had any specific questions on promotional products or, with you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, they can find me, my Facebook is, I have my personal Facebook, which is Cheryl Wilk, but if they also can look on the promotional one, which is promo girl slash P&S promotional specialties with the and sign, promogirl.cheryl on Instagram. I have a website, pspromos.com. They can connect through me there. On the Dream Plan Start Grow page, they can find me there. I'm on LinkedIn.
Lots of places. You're everywhere.
Yeah, there's Promo Girl. I forget, PS Promo Girl, something like that. I think I'm working on my business page on LinkedIn. That's been something that I've been working on this year. So, but they can find me with my name on LinkedIn as well. So I'm accessible, however they want to reach me.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Your time. And thank you, everyone, for jumping on. I know we've had various people come on and go off and come on and go off, like you do in the world of live streams. But thank you for coming on. If you have any specific questions, like if you come on here later and you have specific questions, feel free to drop it in the comments, and one of us or both of us will get back to you. Or, as I said, if you're a new or aspiring female entrepreneur or female business owner, feel free to jump into the Dream Plan Start Grow group. And you can go to dreamplanstartgrow.com, and it has a link straight to the group from there. If you have any questions for me, I do own Batcat Media Group, which I talked a little bit about, but feel free to reach out to me. You can either call us at 561-276-4422 or reach out to me at allison@batcatmedia.com, and it's ALLISON. Thank you, and I wish everyone a great day.